All right, here we go. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too good either. See if we can change that just a little bit. Get a little more log in there. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, you can see it, so it'd probably be nice if I was just back just a little bit further. And problem, I put it up against all this wood I got here, and I can't go back no further. So I guess that's just life. Maybe I can move the log a little bit. Probably move it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, man, that thing's all slimy. I took a bark off last night. It's just kind of one of them things. You just expect it to be that way. So I'm gonna make a kind of like about a 30-degree angle bear. His head's kind of sideways like that. You know, a little smile. That's the plan. Anyway, if you haven't hit the like button already, be sure and hit it. Hey, Roger, what's going on? Tony Newton, Roy's Timber Art Techniques. Glad to see you guys. So I forgot. Well, I was this high. Yeah, I'll stay there. Well, it's this high. I'm just blowing this dust on me. So I'm going to put this mask on real quick. Just protect myself. I've been eating a lot of dust lately. Let the old body do its work and fight it off. Closer to a 45-degree angle, but that's all right. We'll take it. That's what we're going for. for that big saw for a second. That big piece though, it had to come out because I want to get the head tilt, and you still got to have shoulders. So just figuring it out as I go. I really didn't have a plan other than I'm out here carving something. Now I'm wondering if I ought to turn that your guys' way now. Turn it toward the camera a little bit now so you can kind of see the head come to life. We can do that. There we go. But that's what it's going to be. That's going to be the top of the head, and ears back here. He's going to be sideways looking head. Anyway, hit the like button if you haven't hit it already. Hey, Chucker, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, I can establish the head with this saw. That's a lot of saw to hold up that high, but I'm doing it all right. I need to work out anyway, right? All right. Dig that mouth out some more. But yeah, since it's so hot, I figure I'll probably wear a mask, you know, kind of try to protect yourself. Let's see what we got going on here. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Hey, baby kisses, what's going on? John, Roy, what do you know? Glad to see you guys in there. Heck yeah, Woodchucker, what do you know, buddy? Okay, keep cutting right along. But yeah, he's gonna have a heck of an angle to him. And I thought, you know, I've done a few like that, and I will continue to try to make cute bears like that. You know, a little bit of, try to bring some lively cartoonism to them. So let's see how it goes. Move some of these big pieces for a trip over them. We don't want that, do we? At least I don't. I mean, you guys might get a good laugh out of it. I can't take that away from you, can I? bigger saw. Bigger saw. Oh well. Kick some of the stuff out of the way. Yeah, I don't need to be tripping. Heck, I'm 2 months away from being 50. Last thing I need is a broken leg, right? Heck yeah. Hey, Billy, what's going on, buddy? Gotta see you. Got John, Woodchucker. Heck yeah. Tell him to hit the like, that's for sure. All right, I'll keep right on going. And yeah, it's just pretty good aggressive angle. And actually, I'll take more out of the back of this. And just trying to make him look cartoony / realistic pose. How about that? so far so good. I'm liking it. I don't know about that shadow though. That shadow ain't the best, is it? I wonder if I could change all this so you don't have it. Just try to make it work more with the sun. I probably can. I'm sure I can, actually. There we go. Maybe we'll do it like that, and I'll take this and move it. I think we should be able to get away with that. We'll find out. Okay, there we go. That might be all right. Let's see, how's that look? Yeah, it takes the shadow out anyway, you know? I mean, maybe I ought to get a little closer. And if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to hit it. Okay, let me get a piece of block in the way here. There we go. Yeah, that's a little better. Okay, yeah, just try and get rid of the shadow. Although when I dig that ear out, there'll probably be quite a bit there. But anyhow, head's starting to come out pretty good. I mean, I was kind of wondering, you know, because I'm a novice chainsaw carver, you know, I was kind of wondering, you know, hey, you know, this might go off slippery slope. It was starting to look a little funky there for a while. And not so much. I mean, it's starting to come along pretty good, actually. I appreciate that. But heck yeah, hit that. Hey, Ray, what's going on? Just checking. I can't hardly see it with the sun here, but I know John, Baby Kisses, Woodchucker, Billy Shoemate, it's all in there. Man, I'm trying to remember who else I've seen. Nah, don't do that. You're thinking too much. Okay, I'll break my brain. But anyway, so the idea behind this particular carving is I want to have something for like kids to come up and get their pictures taken at the BACKWOODSFEST in Thornville, Ohio, that we'll be doing on the 19th, 20th, and 21st of September. And just something cute and something big, because we sold that great big bear I had, and I wanted to have, this one's going to be 5 feet. And it'd be something cute, you know, people can get their picture by it. That's my goal anyway. practically out of fuel. If I don't run it all the way out, it'll be easier to start later. But you can hear it. It's getting high pitched. But man, you know, it come a long way pretty quick. You know, the head. I mean, it's pretty much other than I got to cut the beak in it and all that. You know, 30 minutes, not too bad. But the heck yeah, hey Cheech, what's going on? June, glad to see you guys in there. Heck yeah. And if you haven't hit the like yet, already be sure to hit it. But yeah, I mean, the head's kind of dug out. I mean, he's looking pretty daggone cute. So I'll go ahead and do the mouth, and then we'll start moving on to the body pose. Now, I got one that Creation Dust carved for me and Boss Lady when he was here. And he did it at this 45-degree angle head. And I really wasn't thinking about it initially, but he did this pose, and I might just try to make it just like that bear that Josh made for us. It's like that, but the arm's up like this, and this one's like that. And I might kind of try to make it look like it. I'm going for cute, and that thing he made us was insanely cute. All right, so let's see. If I can get this other saw running, I'll start digging some more out and figure out what I'm gonna do with the arms. So I'm gonna get the mouth in there first before I go. Just so I know, I know enough to know that I don't know. Come on, Helen Keller. I'll tell you, old Helen. Come on, Helen. Yeah, I mean, that kind of, you know what I mean? It just really brings him to life. Going ahead and adding the mouth to him. So now I got to start working on what am I going to do with the body. If his neck is clear over here, then I want this arm to be about here, somewhere in there. That's what we're going to go for. Something kind of comes down here, bends over, and that. So I'm going to start digging that out. As I look at it, that's just too far out. I need to cut a bunch of that off. I'm not going to be happy with it once I do. It's just too far. Too far from the original body. That's gonna make a little more sense if I start from there. If it's just gonna stick out too far. So if I bring it from here down and around, that's gonna look a little bit better. So let's do it. think it's time for coffee. Heck yeah, I'm gonna grab my coffee cup over here and take a drink out of it. He's looking pretty good. Got that arm dug out. The next one will be, of course, the shoulder's way up here, so this one will be down here and kind of come under it, something like that. That's what I'm going for. Anyway, hey Shoops, what's going on? Yeah, I seen it. Hey, I got it. I just didn't open it. I figured I'd wait until I had this, had something ready. And I do, but I gotta, well, there's just more to it. Anyway, yeah, I did see the email, William, and I got it. I'm gonna send you something. Heck yeah. So I got that arm on there. It's looking pretty good. What is it? Mr. Shoop, that's a link. It's a blue direct. Oh yeah, yeah. Got him fixed up. Heck yeah. Okay, let me get a drink of my coffee real quick. And I think, how long have I been on here? 45 minutes. Hey Ray, what do you think? I'm gonna go for 100 likes. We're at 61. I think if we get enough likes, at least get 100 likes, I'm gonna stay down here till everything's out of fuel or I get 100 likes, one of the two. We gotta go to Germantown today, but we don't have to leave here till I think 3, something like that, 3 o'clock. So, I mean, I can just leave this thing on until my battery dies. I don't care. I'm just gonna keep making this, but hopefully we can get 100 likes today. Although I don't think it'll take that long. It shouldn't. He's looking kind of cute. He's got a little bit too much back, and I can work with that later. I'm not gonna worry about that until we get the important part of the front done. I can always cut down and give him a rump and stuff. And actually, these little bears I got. Man, that coffee's just right. It's lukewarm. I don't really like it hot. And I'll say by the time I get done with it, it'll be pretty cool. And man, I got a really hard east wind. That's kind of nice. But anyway, here's what I'm talking about. Give him a little rump. I'm learning. You know what I mean? Okay. This guy back over here, I really like him. He's cute. I'm gonna have to glue that. Yeah, that's gonna break off if I don't. Yeah, it just had some worm holes in it, them white worms. Okay, put this back on, put my headphones back on, and start digging the left arm or the right arm out. Oh, there we go. got that top leg dug out pretty much. So I kind of got established for me, in order to establish where the front's going to be, I'm going to have to cut the back, and then that way I can realize how much I got to work with. But I mean, that's looking pretty cute. I'm pretty happy with him, how he's going. Not too bad, not too good, you know, something like that. Heck yeah, up to 71. Heck yeah, how's it going? Let's see what we got here. Billy, Raja. What do we got? Girl-eyed. Man, that's Spanish. I don't speak it. I don't know. Teach? Heck yeah. All right, hit the like if you haven't already. We're going to turn this guy sideways and see if I can't get that. I'm going to get that backside now dug out before I start figuring on my front side. It'd be nice to know what the shape's going to be. So I'll just turn him sideways. I'm dancing with him. Ah, da, 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 da. Okay, there we go. Kind of sideways. And I just want to shape it out, like take this out, give it a back, give it a little bit of a rump, which it's too low. So that could have been the rump. And it could call this a hump in the back too, but that's not really what I'm going for. So let's see what we got. We'll get that lined out and then go from there. Oh, wrong one. I want that big one. Oh, no, I probably could do that with that 16. You know what? Yeah. And it'll flex better. So let's use it. I haven't started it yet today. think I'm gonna spin him around and do the back of it just so it's easy to see what's going on. There we go. So we're gonna give him a butt and dig that out, and of course it's at an angle because he's pulled up higher on this side than that side. So that's why I made it that way. But let's dig that out, and then we'll try to get the legs dug out too. So now that I got that dug out, I've just been kind of thinking about what I wanted to do with the legs. I mean, obviously they're not going to be straight. I want it to be up and down, so maybe I could put it on a rock or something. And I'm kind of thinking this could be the knee, and this one come over here, and his foot be by here, and he's standing on something. Now, I don't know what, you know, maybe we'll put it on a raccoon head or something. I don't know. But anyhow, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And to facilitate that, I think I'll spin him around again, and we'll dig that leg out. We'll just dig one leg out at a time. And yeah, get this mask back on since I'm still in the dust pretty hard. Yeah, give it a little bit. But you can kind of see his, you know, his butt coming down through there. And if I dug this around through here and there and had his foot on something, I think that'd be kind of cool. But let's find out. I'm definitely testing my abilities, you know what I mean? backside, I don't know what I'm going to do with this lump yet. It could be that like it's standing by a rock. So I'm going to leave it for the moment. Leave it there, and I'm going to turn it around and start digging the front of the leg out. There we go. He's looking pretty cute so far, I think. I like him. What are we up to now? 77? All right, we need 23 more likes to get to 100. All right. I'll use this jog cutter for now. It won't last very long, but at least I keep going. I don't have to stop yet and put fuel in them if I do this. The idea is I'm just trying to think my way through. Maybe that leg needs to be a little straighter, like clear back in here. Since that one's forward, this one here could be like there. I'll be straight down, and then actually that was a waste of time if I do that. But that's all right. I don't know. I know enough to know. I don't know. So let's find out. Yeah, it's getting there. Digging that leg out. This whole piece here, I'm just kind of hesitant because I don't know. I'm gonna have this foot on something, but I haven't figured out what, if it's just gonna be a rock or how it's going. I'm just kind of thinking about it as I go. But as far as digging the legs out goes, and like the crotch and stuff, we know the hips here, so, but with this leg is straight, so we need to dig kind of a crotch there, and I can't cut that out. I could get that down to here without making any decisions. So let me do that next. mean, you know, it's starting to get the pose in. I need to dig some more of that belly out, and at this point I'm probably just gonna have to go back and forth and work it out with the saw, but it kind of is what it is. See what we got. 83, we're getting closer to 100. I got 17, that's pretty good. We'll take that, or 17 to go, yeah. But anyway, yeah, so he's getting kind of close. Leg air, everything kicking out. That's kind of cool. But I like the head pose, the body pose. I just don't know what to do with this lump in the back yet. If I'm gonna have this foot like on a rock or what it's doing, I'm just not really sure how it's going yet. But I might just take that hump out altogether. I think actually it would just make him look better if I did. But then this foot here, that foot's gonna be right there. And I wonder if you could even see that. I don't know. I could take and kick that out, and that'll get more of a down angle, back at it up a little bit. Heck yeah, there we go. So yeah, if you haven't hit the like button yet, be sure to hit it. I'm gonna go ahead and dig this top foot out. And it's, you know, just because of the shape of the log, you know, I might take some out of here of his ankle, but I think I'm just gonna dig it around to here, and that's gonna be his top foot. So I'm gonna dig that out next. I'm happy with the leg pose. I need to take some material out of here, but not a lot. I mean, but enough. And it's kind of hard to reach. But it is what it is. And then I'm gonna spin this thing around it, and I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. He's obviously standing on something, but then there's a big section back here. I may just take it out altogether, and just so he's just like standing on one level. But I don't want it to look like he's sitting on a rock either. I mean, I could, but it just kind of is what it is. I'm happy with it. Not too bad, not too good, something like that. But I think I can live without this mask now too. It's not so bad. Let's see what we got here. Hey, I appreciate that, Billy. Heck yeah. Let's see. Yeah, something like that. Cochlear, then neck. Okay, I'll just yeah. Got stung. Okay. Hey, Susie Q, what's going on? Anyway, I got all morning, and I don't really care. I gotta make stuff, and I'm like, I might as well live stream this. This guy's cute. Anyway, I mean, that's what we're going for, you know, the big cute. I want to have something for this upcoming event that kids can come up and get their picture taken with, and that's going to be it. And actually, I can't believe how fast he's coming together. But, oh, I'll drink a little bit of this coffee. Man, that wind feels good. It's not bad out here at all. I mean, I'm just sweating a little bit. Not bad. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and run that John cutter until I run out of fuel. But I don't take that mask off. I can only stand it so long. All right, I gotta stop and put fuel in something now. It is what it is. Although I think I could pull that piece out with this one. I can't really I think the front's pretty well established. I mean, really, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do with this back. And I think I'm just gonna cut it off. Cut that I mean, it just looks like there's a rock or something and he's sitting on it. And I like the idea that, you know, he's kind of got his foot up there. And I guess I could just leave it like that, like he's standing there, but then I'd have to dig the leg out. You know, I could maybe make that a stump. Yeah, maybe something like that. Dead tree, stump, something like that. I love that pose though. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I can't really make up my mind. Yeah, I think I'm gonna, yeah, I think I'm gonna make that a stump. You know, I didn't really have a plan. I just started. You know, it is what it is. Okay, where's my spare? I gotta put fuel in something. Yeah, so I guess I'll do this one. I'm not gonna have enough oil left. I'll fill everything up. I'll tell you what, don't run out of oil. If you chainsaw carve, don't run out of gallons of oil, because if you have to run down to Dollar General or something to get someplace close, it costs you for a quart what a gallon will cost you at Rural King. So I made that mistake, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 times over the last couple of years. And I go through, right now I'm going through a gallon in about a week and a half. So I'm using a lot of oil. Fuel-wise, I went through 2 gallons in the last week, so been pretty busy. All right, I never did let this one die all the way, so it should be all right. official decision that this is a rock. And he's just kind of sitting and kneeling on that rock. And so I got to do this side over here. Clean this up. And then clean that whole thing up and give him some hair. And I think I ought to take, just looking at it, I ought to take a little bit out of there too. It'd make him look a little better if I did. Make sure the phone doesn't lock up every now and then. Okay, so I'm just gonna round this piece off here, and I might even put like some chiselings in there to make it look like shale type rock instead of a round rock. Done that, but I've never done it, and I'd like to try it. It couldn't hurt. So I guess I can kind of start here on this side of him, and I cut the little lines in, try to make it look like. like that. Bear standing on he's sitting on a piece of shell, kind of standing on it, chilling out, relaxing. Let's see, heck yeah. All right, what we got here? We got baby kisses, Billy Shoemate. Hey, how's it going there, Adrizi? I think it is, I don't know. Can't hardly read it. This is life. Okay, I'm gonna clean up the rock and clean up the base and then give this guy some hair. That is the plan. Back, wasn't it? What is with this? Sometimes these things will happen. Okay. I should have came out and been like, should have just real quick shoved my arm up in there and be like, hey, my arm is gone. I cut my arm off. Oh, that's horrible. Why would I come up with such a great idea? Okay, let me turn this thing. Oh, I need to give him front claws. I already did the feet. And so do these paws, give him some claws. And yeah, and then I can start giving him hair. But let me do the claws first. Might as well. But I think he's cute. I think he's really cute. I also think he's at a bad angle. There you go. That's a little better, isn't it? Okay. And that shell, I've never done that before. That looks really good. going all right. Got the head done anyway, working that neck. Give my arm a second. Just a second to cool down. Hey, 92. We might hit 100 likes yet. That'd be all right. 2 hours, that's not so bad. In the middle of the day, on a holiday weekend, I don't expect many people to be home. But it is what it is. Just us people that don't do anything and work real hard. That's about it, you know. And our older friends that just don't get out that much anymore. But a lot of people are out doing stuff holiday weekend. You know, I might as well be on YouTube. I'm going to be carving. That's how I'm looking at it. And that and Billy Shoemate, if I do a good job, he'll send me ice cream. back side of it. There we go. I like that sail. I think that's gonna look really good, especially if I paint it gray or stain it gray, something like that. But man, the shadow's just kind of taking me over. Hey, Shoops, what's going on, man? Billy? Heck yeah, you can count on Billy for ice cream, that's for sure. Heck yeah. We all scream for ice cream. Okay. I was hoping I'd get through that without running out of fuel, but it didn't happen. Oh, I'll go back for no more than I got. I'm gonna go back to the John cutter to finish that little bit that's left. Yeah, okay. It shouldn't need no oil either in it for no more than I got to do with it. But I'll tell you what, I'm not carrying all these tools. I ended up, because there's cars in the way and my side-by-sides are blocked in, I ended up having to carry all the saws down here. But I'm not going to carry them back up. The way it is. I got a golf cart, but it's up in the woods. Just kind of let it dilapidate once I get that side-by-side, you know. And it's an old one anyway. It's like 1980 something or other. And it's old. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay. Put your headphones on, dummy. Right? Okay. All right, let's turn him around. And I gotta be honest with you, I've thought about cutting the head smaller, shortening it up, just cutting the back off here, cutting the beak off, and making the head a little bit more compact. But I don't know, I like him. He's not bad. I think it'd be really cool for the kids to come up and pet him and or you know, take pictures with him and stuff like that. He's just real cartoony looking big bear. I do have some lines though, like right in here, just some oversawed lines. I need to try to clean them out a little bit. I can try. Let's see how it goes. I think he looks good. Yeah, he's you know, his snout and his head's probably a little on the big side. Let me pop out here and look at him a little bit. His snout and his head's probably out a little bit on the And of course, it'd look better if I took all that off, but it is what it is. We'll get it. But if it was a little shorter, you know, from dead on, he looks pretty good. He's super cute up on a rock like that. And hey, I appreciate that, Shoops. William, I've had a good time with this one. Hey, Rumpelstiltskin, how's it going, man? Appreciate it, Billy. Yeah, this for me, that's one of the most detailed pieces I've made, you know. And I mean, to put that shell in there, we'll see how that comes out, that shell rock, you know. But got him sitting there, you know. You can't see the little butt lumps now that I haired him up pretty good. I guess you can, just depends on how you look at him. But his head's kind of big, you know. But he's supposed to be cartoony, you know. That's what we were going for. And he's just got this big, I call him cat bear. It's a big cat bear pose, you know. And I got some other stuff. Heck, I was showing you guys this stuff last night. Of course, it was in the dark. I like that little guy. He's super cute. You know, he's got cut the sign in. And there's my first time ever making a heart bear. Made that a couple days ago. And this one here, he's holding the sign. That's what that's gonna be. But it's kind of the same style. And I don't really care for these two welcome bear cat bear heads. I don't really care for them too much. But this guy here, he needs some wood filler. He had them bugs in there in the hole. But he's just got realistic cub pose, you know. But that's what we got. And then got these bears in the pumpkin, a couple other pieces out here, the dog. I made up my mind on this. It's going to be a husky or a German Shepherd. I don't know. It actually kind of looks like, I don't know, one of them giant dogs a little bit. But another little sign piece, you know. And then this one here is my favorite. Put into morels, you know, super cute stuff. Having a good time. But that's what we got. And I know I've been on here over 2 hours, but I had to, you know, if I'm going to be working, then I might as well be YouTubing. And I think I'm going to call it on the big bears or on the bigger pieces. I'm going to go to small stuff now, like starting to make cardinals and little, hey, I appreciate that, Rumpelstiltskin. But anyway, I think I'm going to start going to making the smalls, cardinals, owls, pumpkins, stuff like that from here on out, because we got to be set up by the 18th of September, so don't have a lot of time to work with. It's starting to get shady here, but man, it's felt good all day out here. Hardly sweated at all. Hey, I appreciate that, baby kisses. You know how it is. I mean, you've watched the my evolution as a carver. I'm coming up on September 21st. Will be 2 years on YouTube. And when I started YouTube, I started carving again. And I didn't know what I was going to do on YouTube. I just knew I wanted to start a YouTube channel. And I'm like, hey, I liked that carving when I messed with it back in 2019. Why take that up? Why not take that up and see if I can't do more? But anyway, guys, that's what I got. I will be back tomorrow night. That is the plan. Tomorrow evening, like 8:30, something like that. Something. Oh, yeah. Hey, I appreciate that, Rumpelstiltskin. Hello, Rebella Buta. Hello. Glad to see you. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow night. And y'all know the drill. Come back when you can stay.